Jamar, you could look surprised. Let me know if you got my message. And so, hello and good morning, world, and welcome back to yet another fun-filled episode here with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. As we embark upon what will be another great episode this morning, we thank you all for chopping it up with us, and we thank you in advance for a time that will be had. And so, yes, world, we are back like a shark attack, back like we left something, back like we ain't got no clothes in our back, and for the world is a better place when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. So thank you for tuning in with us this morning as we converse about the latest sports topics that have taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in and participate with us every weekend. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via our two Facebook pages, the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, as well as additionally our own Early Morning Sports Talk podcast Facebook page. You can also find us on Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk POD, again on IG at the Early Morning Sports Talk POD, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, Ian Jones, as well as our guests for that weekend. Today is November 9th of 2024, and we've seen yet again another fascinating week in the sports world. What we saw, the Kansas City Chiefs remain undefeated, and others compare the Kansas City Chiefs' new duo of Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins to the great Randy Moss-Tom Brady duo of the New England Patriots. Additionally, we saw the Cleveland Cavaliers stay undefeated after demolishing the Golden State Warriors after the Warriors poured out what was a very impressive road win a few days ago up in Boston to beat the defending NBA champs in their home court. Additionally, we saw the Indiana Fever snag head coach Stephanie White from WNBA championship contender Connecticut Sun, bringing her to a homecoming back in Indiana, as she is a former Purdue Boilermaker. And so she also played for the Indiana Fever, and it brings her close to her familiar roots of Danville, Illinois. As a Chicago Sky fan, I was hoping we would have snagged Stephanie White. But additionally, we saw Chicago Sky welcome in new head coach Tyler Marsh, who comes from the Becky Hammond coaching tree and will bring a different energy to this team and city, Chicago fans hope. And so with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother and one of my partners here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Mr. Jamar Goodman, good morning, sir. How are you?
Man, after a long week of work, I am glad to be here with you fellas. How y'all doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. And yes, I'm very good to be here, and it's a pleasure as well. And introducing my other partner here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, and our other brother from another mother, Mr. Ian Jones, aka Rod Tidwell, aka People Hernandez. Mr. Ian Jones, my bro, what it do?
Good, I'm good. Kind of in the same boat Jamar is after a long work week. But good
Yeah,
sports week, man. It's gonna be a good episode.
yeah, absolutely, man. And so yes, so fellas, if you guys are ready, let's get into it. Let's talk about this subject, and it's something we have to talk about every week. Our Chicago Bears, and so Jamar, um, you would like to, uh, we would like for you to give us your insight on the Chicago Bears and what happened this past weekend in Arizona, and then we'll follow up with you as well. And in the meantime, I'll make my tags. Go ahead, Jamar.
We I feel like we just can't get out of our own way with certain things. Look, it's one thing to lose. I get that. Like Eberflus has yet to win on an actual Sunday on the road in
Mm-hmm.
his bare 10 years as head coach. So, it's kind of expected, but it's the manner of how they lost.
Yeah.
You lose to an Arizona Cardinals team, which, we stated last week, they're kind of sneaky good, but they're not a juggernaut of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to, I guess, actually break the streak of like, not allowing what 20 or 21 points in the game to the Arizona Cardinals, and they gashed you on the ground. It wasn't even the air,
Yeah,
just
they
the
dominated.
ground.
Yeah.
And that was something I was kind of peeping for the last few weeks, that the ground game, the run defense isn't like elite, but it's okay. But like at week after week after week, I feel like it's gotten worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, that little dent became a gash. And how do you allow a 53-yard touchdown in the waning seconds before halftime when you're trying to play
Mm-hmm.
ball control? Like, how do you allow that to happen to a backup running back, the third string, I believe?
Bro, a lot of shooting, a lot of Bears. I just want to say this quickly, Jamar, and
Yes.
the Bears have been shooting themselves in the foot a lot.
Yep.
Look at the
They
play. I
have.
mean, they've been shooting themselves in the foot. But go ahead, Jamar. I'll let you continue, but you can't allow what they allowed at the end of the second half. They gave up two very important plays that changed the whole trajectory of the game.
You're not you're not wrong, man.
Just discipline, discipline.
And look, I understand, players have to play. I mean that's obvious. Like when you're a player, I mean, you have a certain job, do your job, execute your job. If you do what you're supposed to do, it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be 29-9. I get that point. But also, another thing that's been probably the elephant in the room in the last couple of years is the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The coaching. And it's still a lot of head scratching decisions being made. I mean, when you have Caleb Williams throwing the ball 41 times, like what are we doing? Like,
Right.
really, what are we doing? Did we not learn from when Caleb Williams threw the ball with 50 times against the Colts? Did we not learn on that? Did we not learn from the bounce attack that they had against the Rams and the Panthers, things of that nature? Like, it's like all of a sudden you don't even go to what actually works. And then if you are passing the ball, how come Cole Kmet only had one target in the last two games and no targets last game? Like, what are we doing? Um, DJ Moore looked very uh
He
unenthused.
very, very upset, bro. He was on the sideline. I seen. I was watching it live. He was on the sideline. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, and they, that one play he just ran off the field in the mid play. He claimed he, hurt his ankle. Probably did, but nevertheless, it's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of unorganized, a lot of there's no like real cohesion. And when you hear like the leaders of the team, in the media say things that's different from what like the head coach is saying, there's a problem. There's a
Mm-hmm.
problem. Like the coaches can never admit they're wrong. Like anytime they question, the media question them about something that's questionable, they always double down and says like, no, this was the right play, this was the right call. But when you have the players come out and say like, nah, I think we should have did this. Nah, I don't think it was like it's just there something's off. But usually when stuff like that happens, it starts with the head. And I don't know about you all, but I think this man Eberflus got like the hottest seat at the moment um, in the NFL. I think even a little bit hotter than Doug Peterson, just because
Mm-hmm.
the amount of expectations that the Bears had coming into this year with the hard knocks, with the roster moves, with the quarterback they draft, like just everything. And as we know, after tomorrow's game, the real schedule starts. So you can't figure it out by now. It's like it's looking very dim going forward.
Mm. Yep. Um, and bro, your thoughts?
It's I kind of feel bad for Caleb because we're literally watching the Bears do the same thing again. You know, we watched a similar pattern with Mitchell Trubisky a little bit. watched a similar pattern with Justin Fields, and now it looks like Caleb Williams is gonna go through the same thing.
Mm.
Um, Matt Eberflus, I think it's time to, I think it's time to let him go.
Thank you.
For
I've been saying it for the longest. Thank you.
even, I wouldn't even be opposed to him just being a defensive coordinator and them hiring just a brand new head coach. But, if they hire a brand new head coach, then, who's to say that they want him as a defensive coordinator? But nevertheless, I don't think he's a good head coach. He's probably a good guy, good dude. But as far as being a head coach, just don't think that's his forte. To lose to the Cardinals like that, and the Cardinals not even necessarily playing good as a team. They're a talented team, but they're not necessarily playing that good. And for Kyler Murray to barely pass over, I don't even think he passed over 200 yards or
He
150
didn't.
No,
yards.
yeah, it was barely
154.
100 some. Yeah, barely over 100, bro.
Yeah, and for them to lose like that, it's embarrassing. Um, you know,
Yeah,
DJ Moore, I'm disappointed. I do get it, but I'm disappointed. And you can't walk off the field like that, bro. You can't do that, bro. You're supposed to be a leader, number one receiver. They just paid you, but I mean, I get it. I get the frustration of him not getting the ball as much. Him and Caleb maybe not having the same chemistry, as Justin Fields. Him and Justin Fields have coming off a career year, so now he comes to a new quarterback, and he's not necessarily getting the ball a lot. They had that one
he's
game,
not
or
touching the ball at all, and you as a wide receiver know that. Like, a
yeah,
receiver needs his touches. He ain't getting them.
yeah.
I mean, let me
And,
just say
and,
this
and,
though,
and
man. I mean,
granted, they have new weapons, and it's gonna take some time. I understand that, but I just feel like I personally feel like they picked the wrong offensive coordinator, and I guess Caleb has to build that trust. You know, trust in him. Not to say that he doesn't, but I mean, it's gonna take some time. But right now, it's not looking good. It's looking like the same old sad song over and over again.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, Jamar, you was gonna say something, bro?
I was gonna say that. I mean, Moore had 9 targets in that game. 4 of them,
Hmm.
he caught 4 of them. So it's like, I didn't watch the entire game, so I don't know if it was just bad throws by Caleb or just good
It was some
defense.
bad
So
throws. Yeah, it was some bad throws. Like just throws he could make, Jamar, but he missing them.
just
I
missing
think
them.
it's a chemistry. I think it's a chemistry thing.
Yeah, it could be chemistry, but a lot of blank throws. He was the same with the Washington Commanders. A lot of throws that's right there, and he just they not connecting.
So then my last question on the whole subject is like dating back. I think we kind of talked about it last week, but just in general, like why? And Ian's point, like with the offensive coordinator, like why didn't they like really hire Cliff Kingsbury? Like it made too much sense not to.
Right. I don't get it either. I would have. I thought Cliff Kingsbury additionally was he wanted to come to Chicago from what I thought, man. Um, and if you got a guy of that caliber, that's very proven. I don't know,
And
man. So I don't know.
and
Sometimes it's in
and coached
politics,
them in college.
right? I don't know. Sometimes if it's politics, man. People know people. Shane, no, I don't know. But the guy, he often looks like a deer in headlights. He looks lost in a lot.
Mm.
You could see it in his face. He looks lost, Jamar. He looks like he don't know what he's calling. Like he's just
I'm,
hoping that a play works. Let's do this play. Let's hope it works. Let's do this play, and let's hope it works.
I mean, honestly, let's really think about this.
He did the refrigerator Perry, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I
Mhm.
mean, we're all around the same age, same era.
Yep.
When have the Bears had a competent offensive coordinator?
Mike
Maybe
Martz.
once. and maybe Mark Tressman.
Mark
And then
Trestman, he never was
the
offensive coordinator. He was a head coach.
well, he's the head, well, he was the
But
head coach.
I guess he was
So
calling
offensive
plays though.
minded, yeah. But I mean, at that time, the offense was magnificent, but then the defense was historically trash.
Correct.
So I mean, but other than those two, in 30 years, when have the Bears had a competent offensive coordinator?
No, never.
Mississippi,
Never.
same
Even when
sad
we went to the
song.
Super Bowl, even when we went to
Yep,
the Super Bowl, it was
same
Devin
song.
Hester saving us a lot in the defense that
Dude,
year.
Dude,
didn't
I
the
think Devin
defenses?
Hester scored the most points on the team.
Right.
I think you're
That
right. He
sounded about
had
right.
like 7 returns that year or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
So
watching it when he went to the Hall of Fame. I think he scored like the most points. I didn't even know that. I said that's terrible.
yeah, he was
And
saving us a lot that
insane
year.
that we went to the Super Bowl with that.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Yep.
if we just had
Had a chance to win in the
an
fourth quarter.
average offense with that team, probably would have won
Yep.
it.
And had a
Yeah,
had a
would blew
very
them
good
out.
chance to win that game. One touchdown down in the fourth quarter.
I
You
think if it
know?
don't rain, we win, but that's another story. Nevertheless, it's just the same sad song. And I've been saying it, and this is why I jumped off the bandwagon. It's just like, okay, we have to start looking at ourselves and what we're doing as a organization. You know, we got all this talent. Like we have one of the most talented teams in the NFL, but we still look like the same bit. It's get to the point where it don't matter who they put out there, and that's been my point for the last couple of years. It don't matter who they put out there. They got the sexy picking Caleb Williams. They get Rome Medusa, get Keenan Allen, and we still look the same. They
Dude,
still look the same.
I feel like we have the right GM. I
Yeah,
feel like we have, for the most part, I believe, I know it's early, I feel like we have the right president. I feel like the president is better than Ted Phillips, what we had
yeah,
for,
oh yeah, I think so
by,
for sure.
yeah. Yeah, it's the head coach now, like, because I feel like these players are pretty much tuning this man out at this point. And if you lose the locker room, yeah, that's game over.
Yeah, it's
Which
gonna be
Especially
tough
on
for him.
offense.
Which I
Right.
mean, don't usually the head coach, like when you're the head coach, don't you like approve the hires of the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? That's usually your group.
Yeah.
So he signed off on that.
Right, right. And so, fellas, I just want to ask you guys this as Bears fans. And it's something that we ask every week. Maybe what were some of the positives you saw? Like, as example, I like the connection between Williams and Odunze. Odunze had 100 some yards receiving last week. He had a very good game, Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a very positive thing. You know, you already got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. If you get Rome confidence, you know, that's like the rich getting richer, right, fellas?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you always want, your first round picks, to develop and, get more confidence and, fluent within the offense. But what's the point of having that when you have like three other issues going on at the same time? There's no cohesion. There's no linear like progression. It's like one spot is doing well and three others doing bad, and then the next week this goes
Right.
back
No,
down, and
it's volatility. It's not
yes.
consistency.
And on top of that too, still a business. They just paid DJ Moore. He's the highest paid Bears player in Bears history. He got to get the ball. If y'all will give him the ball, then I mean it's
Yeah, he gonna be showing out like most wide receivers do.
Yeah, but it's like
I mean he probably gonna be doing little stuff there, but it's just like y'all shouldn't have given him the money there. And two, I know DJ got to understand. I mean I guess it's gonna take some time, but I don't know. Maybe the frustration is deeper than what we even know. Maybe I don't know.
may probably between the he probably knows how good this offense should be, and it's not gelling. Chains can't be moved. Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe Caleb not making the right read or getting the ball out as soon as he should. It probably a
Maybe it's
number of
all of the
things.
above. Yeah, maybe it's
Like
all of the above. Because everything you just stated, it sounds like to me it's all of the above.
Yeah.
Or
And
maybe he felt like Rome is his favorite. I don't know. I don't know.
And but once again, like I mentioned earlier, like Cole Komet had 0 targets in that game. 1 target last game. Cole Komet has been part of the reason why you've been winning. Like, get that man the ball. Like, that should be the security blanket for a rookie quarterback.
right, a
That's
tight
just
end.
And
what it
may
is. And makes
and
everybody
maybe that's
else's
He's
job
a pretty
easier.
good tight end. Cole can
and
play. He's a pretty
and
good tight end.
maybe that's DJ's frustration as well. Because to be honest, I wasn't the biggest Cole Kmet fan, but when maybe like a couple years ago when he started showing up with Justin Fields, so I was like, okay, maybe Cole, he been
Right.
playing decent, and like you
Yep.
say, when they playing well, Cole Kmet's getting the ball and he producing.
Exactly.
So
I
I don't
Ian.
know, maybe that could be a thing too. Maybe DJ feel like you got to spread the ball around, bro, or you just can't lock in on your boy. I don't know. I haven't really been watching the games, but I have noticed that it's been a Roma Duze show a little bit every week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
DJ get the ball, he get targets, but I don't know. Maybe they probably not seeing eye to eye right now, and that's what it looked like. That play, him walking off the field during mid play, that definitely lets me
So
know it's something going on,
yeah.
Right. Maybe
and it's
Caleb's
probably been
stubborn
going on
too.
for a while.
Maybe DJ's trying to talk to him, Jamar, and he don't want to listen to him. He's
May I
probably trying to tell him, "Hey, I'm a veteran. You're a rookie. Listen to me sometime." And for
pro
me, it kind
I
of,
agree.
I don't know Caleb much, but he seems a little cocky at times. He seems a little arrogant. Could that? I'm just speculating, fellas. Could that be a part of this? That he's probably trying to tell his kid to do certain things, and he doing it his way. Like
They got to
I
you
step up
know,
mean,
that run game too,
you
yes,
know.
that's what I
consistent.
wanted to say. Like when the Bears started, like had that 3 game winning streak, DeAndre Swift became alive. It made things a lot easier. That opened up everything else. That opened up Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen,
Right.
Adunze, like everyone. It made dude Caleb look comfortable out there. You got to establish the run. There's no way that DeAndre Swift should have 16 carries and you throw the ball 41 times in the game that was relatively close for the most part until you just said F it at the end. Like you cannot abandon the running game. The running game and the tight end are a rookie quarterback's two best friends. Like, what are we doing?
Right. And so, fellas, to progress, at the end of the day, the Bears are still 4-4. Okay, they're not 2-6, 1-7. So that's a slight positive. They're 4-4, so they
But
still have a chance at life.
the
Um,
crazy part is they last in the division. That's how I tell you how good our division is.
right. And so, the Bears, they're the best they could hope for, and we all knew this prior to the season with Detroit being a juggernaut of Green Bay being a pretty good team, that the Bears would hope for is a wild card. And so they're still alive. I mean, we'll see how things progress, but Minnesota's now what 6-3. So and their third put what they're tied with Green Bay. So and
They're gonna have to
Detroit's the
win some
best
division
team
games.
arguably in football. And so Bears got some climbing to do, but at least they're 4-4, and so they can remain somewhere in that hunt for that wild card. But
And
not a
to
good week
and,
for the Bears.
and to say one more thing, and I think that's what's disappointing about the start that they are 4-4. They shouldn't be 4-4 because they had a very, very, very favorable schedule. They haven't even got into the division yet. So now we
Mhm.
have a tough division. They're about to get into the division, and so now we're gonna see the real Chicago Bears. But I mean, we've been kind of seeing it these last couple weeks. The Bears should be honestly, the Bears should only have maybe one or two losses. Honestly, they damn near should be undefeated. They had a very favorable schedule, a lot of games that they should have won. I know he's young, but I think that's probably what's most disappointing. That this favorable schedule so early, and they only 4-4, and now I can see if they was 4-4 and they was like second in the division. They 4-4 and they last in the division. They at 500, and we in a tough division. Nobody seen Minnesota, getting off to this good start, so they're gonna have to win
Right,
some division games to make this a season. If not, then we're gonna be looking at 6-10 or 6-11.
right, right. Mhm. Mhm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
imagine having a top 10 draft pick after,
Again.
dude, that'd be a complete debacle. Everybody getting fired.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And so, fellas, yeah, we could spend a lot of time talking about the Bears and the misery. And so, we would like to ask for our viewers to support this stream. You see that link right there? All you got to do is use your telephone. And from there, you can pull up a QR code. And this QR code will take you to our wonderful Venmo application. And from there, you can support us. Jamar, correct me if I'm wrong. We got hoodies that's in the making, and they are they fly as hell. They fly as hell, these hoodies. Off the chain. Like these hoodies off the chain. Our boy been putting in the work. And so support this screen. You see that? QR code right there on your screen. Support us. We need support. We've been holding it down as a pretty solid podcast for some years now. It's time for us to start making a little money so we can be able to do some other things, but we need y'all help. And so we appreciate it in advance. And so, fellas, let's progress. Let's now get into NFL reactions and overreactions. And boy, do we got a lot to talk about here. First, and I'll start with you, Jamar, and then we'll follow up with you, Ian. First, gentlemen, is it an overreaction to think that after the acquisition of Cleveland Browns defensive end, or former Cleveland Browns defensive end, Zadarius Smith, that the Detroit Lions are an even bigger threat to not just win the NFC North and make a deep playoff run, but instead a threat to win a Super Bowl championship? Yes, in Detroit. Jamar, what's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, that's definitely not an overreaction. Even prior to that, like the conversations I have at work, and we discussed that. I'm sitting here saying like I don't see anybody better than the Lions in the NFC at all.
Mm-mm.
Like just top to bottom without any type of like discussion. Like the way they're playing, the way they're coached, the way they're motivated. Um, Probably especially after the heartbreaking loss last year in the NFC Championship game. Like just all these things rolling into one, and the way how they came out and responded this year. The fact that in the game, Jared Goff threw what 60 some yards, 70 some yards, and the team put up 52 points.
Come on, man. Come on. That shows you they got weapons galore.
Dude, and defense, even without the loss of Aiden
I ain't
Hutchinson, is
never seen that.
still humming. And then
Just
you,
got Darius Smith, right?
yes,
Yeah.
so just traded for this man to help supplement the lack of pass rush that they had. And they were still getting after. So it's like, what they might got like maybe one weakness, and that's a little bit in the secondary. But even still, Brian Branch Jr. I mean, he's a playmaker out there. You have playmakers, so it's like team is excellent. Like the just imagine the road to the Super Bowl was going to go through Detroit at this rate. So then definitely not overreaction. They can
I
legitimately
love
win
to
this
see it,
thing.
man. That's a beautiful stadium in the playoffs. That blue, man, that was a beautiful stadium. And when they had that those playoff games, Detroit looked
Yeah.
lit. It looked lit, like lit. And so, yes, Ian, bro, to answer your question, just Darius Smith. You know, we speculated it here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast because we, as Chicago Bears fans, know the Detroit Lions very well because they're in our division. We knew it when we talked about it for weeks that they were going to be aggressive, knowing Dan Campbell, and go get a defensive end as soon as Aiden Hutchinson got injured. And that's exactly what they did. And so, and is it an overreaction to think that this team is not just a threat to win the NFC North and win the NFC, but is a legit threat now to win a Super Bowl championship?
No, it's not an overreaction. They were a two quarters or a couple quarters away from going to the Super Bowl last year. Same team comes back. Literally the weekend I go down there earlier. What was that? In April. They pay everybody. St. Brown get paid. They tackle gets paid. So man, these guys are young, man. They still got Jameer Gibbs on a rookie contract. Jameson Williams, he stay out of trouble. I mean, when he's on the field, he's balling. He's still on a
Yep.
rookie contract. I mean, they got a good tight end in Laporta, dude. He's still on a rookie contract, bro.
Yep.
Uh, like you say, Brian Branch, he might still be on a rookie contract, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they young, man. They very talented, and I just hope they don't miss their window. Now they did lose Hutch this year, unfortunately. But I mean, it ain't a bad look for getting Darius Smith the other day.
No, that's not. That's not it.
Man, so man, they look damn good, and they got our boy over there. He he just been
He just such a
he been
rejuvenation when he went to Detroit.
yeah, man. Him and Jameer Gibbs, man. That's a hell of a. I mean, besides Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, that's a top five, top three
I don't
a
disagree.
duo
That's a
backfield
duo right there.
in
That's a serious
yeah,
duo. That's a very
for sure.
serious duo.
Sonic
Hmm.
and Knuckles.
Yeah,
Man,
man. So, man, dude.
yeah.
Hey, no, that's definitely not an overreaction, man. No. Hey, man, but hey, this goes back to a couple years. Me and Jamar, we literally since they've been on Hard Knocks, we actually watched the progression of the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions are a Super Bowl contender, bro.
Dude,
So
Very.
you gotta give your props to Dan Campbell, man. They trusted the
heck
process,
yeah.
bro. We
Dude.
literally watched them grow.
To see
Yeah,
something from start to finish is a wonderful feeling in general. So if they can finish this off with a storybook ending, that's one of the best feel good stories that I've experienced in sports.
Yeah.
man. I mean, because we know what that Detroit Lion organization been through, and to see them where
I
they
don't
are now, it's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah. So secondly, fellas, is it an overreaction to think that after a very impressive start from this Washington Commanders football team, that this team can indeed challenge the likes of Detroit, Kansas City, and Baltimore as a serious contender? Or do we not have enough evidence at this point and we need like further results, such as that contest next week versus the Philadelphia Eagles? And so just curious, guys, where are you guys with this? After a very impressive start from this Washington Commanders football team, can we indeed take this team? Is it an overreaction to think that this team could be in the neighborhood of Detroit, Kansas City, Baltimore as a serious contender, or do we not have enough evidence at this point? Jamar, where are
Um,
you?
I'm close. I'm close. Like you are what your record says you are, right? That's one argument. They're 7-2. You can't ignore 7-2. You really can't. They got the second best record in the NFC.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna ignore that, but they're 2-0 in their division. Both their division games has been against the Giants. Um,
That's
so
funny.
so it's like the two losses that they have. I forgot one of them, but I know one of them was against the Ravens, which
Yeah,
was one of the teams.
one is against Lamar, yeah.
Which
Right.
one of
But
the
they
teams
played
that
a
you
damn good
mentioned.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they're fun to watch. They're exciting. I know it's like I feel like a lot of America is rooting for this team just because of Jaden Daniels and that excitement, and these players just rejuvenating them, trading for Marshawn Lattimore, saying they are way ahead of their
Man.
schedule. This is probably what we expected as Bears fans, but that's another story for another day. But
Mhm.
where I'm going with this
Exactly.
is it's like I need to see it against the top dogs. Now the Eagles
Yeah.
has been one of those teams to where we know that they have been underachieving since they lost the Super Bowl, but we still view the Eagles as one of those teams to where at any given point they can just turn it up, and we would not like just in all honesty, would you be surprised if the Eagles made the Super Bowl?
No.
I wouldn't.
Right.
But due to their experience,
Not saying that they're the
you
favorite,
know,
be
Yeah.
surprised. The
No, not at all.
49ers, as terrible as they've been so far this year, would you be surprised that they just caught fire and made the Super Bowl once again?
Nope, because they got McCaffrey coming back this week.
Exactly. So it's like I still have more trust in those two teams along with Detroit just because there's been more evidence over the last recent years as opposed to this flash in the pan team at this point. fun to watch. They are 7-2. They did beat our team, but nevertheless, I just need to see a little bit more. Well, like I said at the beginning, the record of who they are. They're 7-2.
Right. Man, this is a very intriguing question for me,
It
for
is.
real. Ian, bro, your thoughts on this?
I do think they are who they are. Um, I think they're a great team, and it says a lot when you hear rumors around the league that players are telling their agents that they want to go to Washington.
Exactly. Come on
That's
Wa-
now.
wild.
Wa-
I've never heard that in my
Washington
life.
never heard that in the 33 years I've been on this earth. I've never heard nobody say I want to go to Washington.
They say I want to go
Now
to
they
Washington.
do. Now they Washington in the past has had the reputation of just throwing out big money, but um,
But keep in
neither
mind
here
now,
there.
Magic Johnson there, they got a couple billionaires in that organization now, including Magic.
Yeah,
So it is some
yeah,
money there.
neither here or there. I mean, they're playing exceptionally well, man, on offense, and Jaden he done brought a new. They've always had. I'll say this: the last couple of years, they had some very talented players on both sides of the ball, but to hell, even the Bears went and got one from over there. But I think they were just missing that one thing. Like even if we even go back to a couple years ago when they had Ron Rivera, they were literally just missing a quarterback. That's all they've been missing. So now they have their quarterback and they have, the perfect offensive coordinator for him. And now look at the the Washington Commanders. Now look at them now, man. They got what they've been looking for, man, and it's like a looking like a perfect marriage. So I do believe they are who they are. They can thank the Giants for giving them a great division start to be 2-0. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna beat them Cowgirls too, because they
Oh, they
looking
look
like the worst.
terrible.
Yeah, that the whole organization's on fire right now.
Yeah, that run
So they only really competition to me would probably be now. Granted, it's still an NFC East, and they still all rivals. So they're gonna play. The Cowboys gonna play them tough. The Eagles gonna play them tough. So, but I mean, to me, they only really competition would be the Eagles. The Eagles are a tough team. And I know the Cowboys gonna play them tough, even though I think they're gonna beat the Cowboys. Cowboys still gonna play them tough. So even if they split the series with both of them 1-1, I mean they
That's enough for the
still
playoffs.
Four
right.
and
That's
two in the
still
division,
enough.
man.
Probably one. Right. That's still enough to win the division. So I mean, that's a hell of a start. And like Jamar stated, hell, we thought this how the Bears would look. But unfortunately, doesn't work. That's not how the cookie crumbles. So
Right.
I do think they who they are, and man, I would say this: if Lamar Jackson wasn't playing how he playing, hell, Jaden Daniels would be the number one pick for MVP right now. But Lamar, he on a different level right now.
Yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting, man. As that for the MVP race, between Lamar, likely
I
Jared
don't think
Goff,
so.
and we'll
That's
see what
somebody
happens.
else that nobody's talking about for
Yeah,
MVP, Jared Goff.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So and no way you can tell me that Detroit's playing the way they're playing, and he won't be considered. He has to be.
Oh yeah, he's in
So
the MVP ladder.
he has to be, and so he'll be a top candidate for sure. And so let's progress, fellas. Next, is it an overreaction to think that after a 6-3 start from this Atlanta Falcons football team, that this team is still a pretender and not a contender? Jamar, what's your thoughts? Is this an overreaction?
Are y'all ready to jump on the Falcons bandwagon? Not yet. It's room.
Uh,
It's room for that for
uh,
the NFC South. It's a little room there. All
it's a little
right.
easy division, kind of.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is they was a quarterback away. Even Mr. Empty Calories, Mr. Kirko Chains, Mr. Swag Surfing in the middle of Atlanta.
Man,
Um,
dude.
I'll never get that sight out of my head, but nevertheless, the Falcons are 6-3. Falcons are 4-0 in their division. They have
Man,
a
they got a good
2-game
division.
lead over Tampa, which technically is a 3-game lead. Um, I mean, the Falcons are playing pretty good football. I mean, just look how I'm viewing this is any given Sunday, especially when you get to the postseason. It really is. I mean, we saw Jordan Love go in Jerry's world last year and obliterated the Dallas Cowboys, and they haven't been the same since. We've seen it. Um, And so for the Atlanta Falcons, they have a high power offense. They have weapons everywhere on that offense. They have a few playmakers on that defense. Did we forget that they traded for Matthew Judon to add to that pass rush to make their secondary, which I feel like on paper is a top 5 secondary in the league between AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Jonathan Simmons. Like the team is good. They're good. So look, that's another team that we probably need a little bit more evidence on because I heard the hesitations in y'all voices. I get it. I need a little bit more there, but they're 6-3. Cannot ignore that. Technically, a 3-game lead in their division, and sky's gonna be the limit for them within the NFC South. So,
Right. And so, and bro, what's your thoughts on this? Is it an overreaction to think that even after a 6-3 start from this Atlanta Falcons football team, that this team is still a pretender and not a contender?
um, I would say they're a contender in the NFC. Like Jamal said, they've been playing good. They have a very favorable division. I mean, it's not much. Their division is kind of on fire right now. Tampa Bay is kind of they're going through some injuries. They kind of up and down. We all know the my Panthers. They in the depths of hell, and
They they're in rebuild mode for real.
they've been there since 2018, 2019. Um, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Kirko, Kirko, he doing it, man. He swag surfing through the NFC through the NFC
To the
South, man.
NFC South.
Hey, and Derek Carr, he throwing Chris Olave in the through the woods
Wow, Michael Thomas
as
throwing
Kirk.
him.
Yeah,
They
as
just all
as
throwing each other. Yeah, it's a lot happening.
as, as the late
Yeah.
great Lexi Spurlock would say, he throwing them into the forest to go meet Jack Tatum.
And
bro,
so yeah,
So
y'all right though, fellas. New Orleans and Atlanta. I mean, New Orleans and Carolina. These are two of the worst teams in football right now. They probably arguably 1 and 2. These teams are battling for the first round pick, right? They're trying to get the future quarterback at this point. So that's a lot happening there. So the Atlanta Falcons definitely can take advantage of this, Jamar, in and continue to run the NFC South. Right now, Tampa Bay has slided. They are missing their weapons. They are missing Mr. Evans. They're missing Godwin, so they're sliding. They're a good football team as we know, but without them weapons, they're struggling. So Atlanta's eating good right now. Congratulations to them, 6-3. Yes, and Jamar and N has them as contenders and not pretenders. All right, fourth, fellas. Is it an overreaction to think that after Thursday night's survival win versus the Cincinnati Bengals, that it is normal to not be sold on this Baltimore Ravens team just exactly yet due to its defensive relapses and struggles in its secondary? Jamar, what's your thoughts? They're giving up a lot of points.
they are
yeah,
their secondary is historically bad at the moment.
They're awful.
It's terrible, and it's wild because it's not like they have scrubs back there. They have ballers back there.
ballers.
So
Yep.
that maybe lets me know that it's maybe it's the voice on defense. Maybe it's the
But the voice is Roquan Smith.
no, and he has not been that great this year either.
Yeah, he's been
But
having a rough year this year.
so I know they definitely changed coordinators because Mike McDaniel is the head coach of the Seahawks right now, and he was excellent for them last year. So maybe the defensive coordinator is like maybe calling the wrong plays or wrong schemes, whatever it is.
Jamar Chase dominated them Thursday night.
Yeah,
Yep, fastest
I
person in
mean,
the world.
Jamar
I
stick
mean,
together.
Jamar, this
So
is a proud moment for you though, because
it
Jamar,
is.
like,
Like
yeah,
us Jamar stick together. So I mean, if Ian's child said that he's the fastest man in the world, who am I to disagree with that? He's the fastest man in the world. I'm doubling down.
He sure looked like it Thursday. I was like,
My
God damn,
God.
she on to something.
yeah,
Like so the Ravens are they still an excellent team. I still feel like that team is probably the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. Um, but yeah, that secondary you just can't ignore. It's hard to imagine that team actually winning the Super Bowl based on how their past defense has been this whole year. Yeah, it just 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3 on that. It's like so something has to give
right.
for sure.
Your pass defense is bad when Devontae Adams with the Raiders is dominating you on your home
Oh,
field.
yeah, that was a bad loss. That
Yeah,
that we was all sitting here like WTF. so
right.
um so
Yeah,
yeah, man. Ravens still great. Just yeah, that's a glaring issue. That's some it needs to be addressed. So
right. Yeah. And bro, what's your thoughts? Is it an overreaction to think that after Thursday night survival win versus the Cincinnati Bengals, thanks to them going for a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter, that it is normal to not be sold on this team just exactly as a Super Bowl contender due to its defensive relapses and struggles in its secondary?
No, it's not an overreaction. I do think they are playing the best football as a team per se, next to the Chiefs, but they gotta they gotta get that secondary together. Like Jamar stated, I can't see them winning. I mean, I could see them winning, so I could see them winning the championship because I mean Lamar Jackson, he just it's seeming like it's starting to get too easy. Like he's really getting the football part of it as far as he's not even beating teams with just, his raw ability. I think he's getting it on the scheme aspect of it. And, with to have Derrick Henry in the backfield, I mean, that's just
it's not fair.
yeah, it's a cheat code. And two, I don't think a lot of people noticing Zay Flowers he's taking his game to another level. Like somebody stated the other day, I think what we all thought Hollywood Brown would be is what Zay Flowers is. Zay Flowers is taking his game to another level, and him
He
and
looks good,
Lamar
man.
Jackson, him and Lamar Jackson have
But
locked
and
in,
I
and
mean, to back to your point, bro. Can you hear me?
yeah, I
Brandon
can.
Yep.
Likely, right? This kid is dominant, and then you
Oh
just
yeah,
got
Isaiah
Deontay
Likely,
That's
Johnson.
yeah,
very likely here.
yeah, right. Then they just got Deontay Johnson. I forgot about that. They just got Deontay Johnson. So man, I do think, in my opinion, I do think they're the favorite to win it. I won't count Pat out because you can't count
Right?
him
How
out.
many
They just
times
got
have we
Deontay.
did that?
Yeah, I won't count him out, but it looks
Hasn't
like
turned
that's
out.
gonna be the AFC Championship game again.
Okay, and so I hear you, fellas. Um, yeah, sometimes teams just go through defensive lapses. Sometimes, it's a short week, right? But we have seen them give up a lot of yards to a lot of great receivers. Um, They've survived the game. Some of them, they've had a lot of close games. Baltimore, a lot of close games. Some have went their way, some haven't. And on top of that, Jamar Chase is just one of the best receivers in the league. So, you know, I guess sometimes when a great receiver gets going, there's only so much you can do, right, Jamar? And so perhaps maybe that's part of what it was. Just a great receiver. Just
Yeah.
doing what he does. And so, all right, fellas. Lastly, is it an overreaction to think that after another disappointing loss from the Miami Dolphins football team, that this team should begin to look forward to the future, rather than continue to put their eggs in a basket of injury-prone quarterback Tua Tagovailoa? This is the same question with the current New York Giants, who are facing an issue with quarterback Danny Crimes Jones.
Yeah.
Should this organization begin to look forward to the future? And then also this goes for the Cleveland Browns. So again, guys, Miami Dolphins, New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, we all know who their quarterbacks are. Should these organizations, fellas, begin to look forward to the future?
So just on clear, when you say look forward to the future, as in they should start like rebuilding type for the future, or just looking past the
Quarterback
rest.
position. Quarterback
Quarterback.
position.
Okay, just making sure. All right.
Quarterback
So
position.
in regards to the Miami Dolphins, I would say no. That's overreaction. I mean, the Dolphins was 3-1 before that whole debacle, but I kind of get it from the standpoint of his health history. So it's like, what do you really do there?
Mm-hmm.
But when he's on the field, that team is actually a pretty good team. The defense is the one thing that's really been
Just let
really
them down for them last couple of weeks.
by far, and so that's where the real issues is. Now for the other two, I mean, we talked about Danny Crimes for several years now. Um, the Dolphins, I mean, not the Dolphins, the Giants was rumored. I mean, heck, Hard Knocks and showed they was trying to trade up in that draft to go get a quarterback. They really thought about it to go get either May or Jaden Daniels or somebody. They really thought about it. So that lets me know that yeah, yeah, Crime's about to get arrested here. So that's that. Um, and then the Browns. So it's that one is so logic says they need a new quarterback by far, but the way their financial statements and books are set up,
Right, but it's the
that,
same for the New York Giants too. Them financial
yeah,
statements, they gave a lot of money to Daniel
it's
Jones.
a little different though. They didn't give $230-something million guaranteed to Daniel Jones.
Okay, I
Oh
see
yeah.
your point. And then also we're talking about the New York market compared to Cleveland market.
Correct. So
That
it's
money they gave up a lot in Cleveland to, yeah.
yeah. So that's where it becomes like that's rough. So I mean, and then the last thing I'll say, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I would be like selling assets left and right for draft picks once again. Make Deshaun Watson endure all the punishment that's coming his way on the field with a lack of weapons until that contract's over and be good riddance. I mean, nobody's trading for him. I mean, you stuck with that. So yeah, that's that. Like Cleveland is in a very bad situation for years.
Hmm. So in, bro, Miami Dolphins, their quarterback situation with Tua. Cleveland Browns, that situation with Deshaun Watson, and then New York with Danny Crimes. And so, should these organizations begin to look forward? Is it an overreaction to think that these organizations should begin to look forward to drafting quarterbacks, doing whatever they need to do to get healthy and get consistency and get goodness, or at least not greatness, but goodness at least from these quarterbacks? Because right now they're all suffering in misery and their futures don't look good. And so, is it an overreaction to think that these organizations should begin to look forward to the future?
No, it's not an overreaction, but I mean, they all have big money tied into literally every last one of these guys. Um, Deshaun Watson, he wasn't playing particularly well before the Achilles injury, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. But man, they got over 200 million invested in them. Tua, with the concussions is getting out of control. Um, they just paid him, and if Danny Crimes, he just got paid, what, a year or two ago, after he went to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, to be honest, I think Daniel Jones' situation I think it gave a couple other teams a reason not to pay their quarterbacks, like, including the Bears. You don't want, and I feel like that's a part of the reason why Justin Fields not in Chicago. They have a situation like with Daniel Jones. He played okay, drafted in the first round, but then they went to the playoffs that one year. Then you pay him, over 100 million, and now they're in a situation where they probably kind of regret paying him that money. You know. Now, granted, New York has not been the best, you know, organization wise, as far as putting a team together on offense and things of that magnitude. So I won't sit here and blame it all on Danny Crimes, but he got a part to play in it too. And Cleveland, I don't know. I feel like Cleveland is, I don't know. I feel like they cursed a little bit. Uh, Maybe they need LeBron James. I don't know. The Dolphins, I don't know if I would have given Tua that extension, due to those concussions. Um, Maybe he need. I don't know. I feel like he really needed to consider retiring, or I don't know. Maybe he should have set the year out. Even we seeing, Chris Olave just had a concussion the other day. He's even questioning whether to even play anymore. He's just, I mean, he's what, second year player, but I think he's had
Yeah, about third.
concussions. I think he's had a concussion every year since college. I think, or since his sophomore year in college, or something of that magnitude. And Tua has similar injuries, and we've seen him have he's had the so-called baby arm after a hit. You know, and that's scary, man. You don't want to see one of those guys go down the field like that. Um, so yeah, man, it's gonna be tough for all three teams to come up off of those contracts, and no other team is gonna want to take on those contracts and pay those guys that money. It's gonna be tough. Um,
Right. So
me personally, in the beginning of the season, if I was Miami, I would have tried to go after Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson got it going in Pittsburgh now, so that's not a good. That's not looking too good. So I mean, I don't know
yeah.
what the three of them gonna do at this point. It's gonna be tough because they all
Mhm.
well, Cleveland has a very talented team, and definitely Miami. I think Miami is officially missing their window now, and I believe it's because of Tua.
Yeah, I can agree with that, bro. I can totally agree with that. So, we gonna see what happens, fellas, with these organizations. But you know, they gotta do some at their quarterback positions because you're right. There's definitely a window in Miami, and I don't know. They try to throw the bag at somebody or something and ask if they become a backup for Tua. Um, I don't know. Go talk to Justin after the season. Say, hey, they did you wrong. Let us throw the bag at. I don't know. Miami got to do something because they are missing the window for real. And so,
Yeah.
with that being said, fellas, let us progress. Talk some NBA really briefly. And so, Jamar, Ian, fellas, just a few quick questions. The Cleveland Cavaliers are undefeated. Okay. Um, Golden State went into Boston the other day, fellas. Beat them. I'm like, okay, Golden State 7-1. They looking like okay. They might be on that thing again and try to get them Curry trying to get them number 5 this year. but then they go to Cleveland, and Cleveland obliterates them. Generally, we've seen in history sometimes teams that are that first or second round, they come back that next year after they've been defeated, and they just be amazing. Cleveland is totally above where anybody expected them to be. And so, Jamar, this question's for you, bro. Do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers, is the real deal? They got your boy Darius Garland, by the way, from Gary, and he does wonders for my fantasy basketball team. He does wonders for it, and so I'm very very happy to have picked him up. And so, Jamar, bro, do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers are for real at 10-0 at this point? Nobody expected him to be here.
I mean, yeah, that they might be. They might be legit. Let's just really quick. We can just highlight who they beaten so far. I want to say first game of the season with 20. They beat Raptors, Pistons, Wizards, Knicks, Lakers. Okay. Um, we got here the Bucks. I mean, take it how you want. Twice and back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was what
Um,
was impressive for me, fellas, twice. But maybe the Bucks just are, maybe Giannis went
that's
out of Milwaukee. Maybe that's another question.
that's a lot of turmoil right there. Uh, Pelicans and Cavalier. I mean, Warriors that we just saw last night. I mean, we're pretty much an eighth into the season already. Um, we just talked about for the NFL, like you are who your record says you are. So I mean, to really answer your question, I mean 10-0, they've doing it in impressive fashion. You're getting contributions, of course, from Donovan Mitchell and Garland, but you're also getting it from Jared Allen and Mobley as well.
Right.
I mean, Levert's averaging 12 off the bench. This guy named last name Jerome's averaging 10 off the bench. I mean, playing very efficient basketball. It's hard to ignore right now. I mean, I want to see how they do against the Boston Celtics whenever they play. But yeah, I agree with you when you said that none of us seen this coming from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like none of
Oh,
us. We thought they'll take a step, but dang, like the last undefeated team in the league, beating the brakes off the Warriors. They had them. They was losing by like 41 points
It
at
was 82
halftime.
42 at halftime.
Yes, and I was like watching the game on League Pass here, and I had to like turn it off in the beginning of the second quarter. Yeah, I just looked up. I'm like, man, it's not even a game anymore. I'm gonna go find something else that's more entertaining. So it was, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I'm with you on that. Jeez.
Yeah. And so Cleveland, wow. What a story. And bro, um, are you proud to see what Russell Westbrook is doing with the Denver Nuggets? Some people question if that will work. Some people will question if it will work, being of his past history. But Russ out there, y'all know, if you know, he just dropped 29 the other day. He averaging 20 some points. He's clearly could still play. And some people might have thought Russ would drop off, but right now he's looking damn good with Denver. Um, are you happy to see this, number one? And additionally, do you think that Denver is a serious threat to you know, I mean, of course they got the best player in the world, but some people might have not had them as a favorite because of Russell Westbrook. But do you think that this team is good enough to actually win the Western Conference with Russell Westbrook?
yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So Russ has always been Russ. He may have not been the most efficient shooter, but with Russ, you're gonna get that hard nose. He gonna come to play every night. You're not gonna take no plays off. He might get a little distracted sometimes, but that's just Russ. He gonna wear his emotions on his sleeve. He gonna play hard. So yeah, I am I am proud and excited, to see how he's playing with Denver, but I'm not shocked. I just think, with him being um in LA, being from his hometown, well, I would say the Lakers per se, not the Clippers. With him being, with the Lakers, it put a different microscope on him. So, you come into a franchise with, some of the greatest guards to ever play. Magic Johnson, uh, Kobe Bryant, uh, and all of the many other guards they had. They kind of expect you to keep that going. And, with all due respect, it's not those other two guys. Now, that's not to say that he's not great in a sense, but I feel like that kind of tainted him, his situation with Durant and things of that nature. But Russell Westbrook, man, we've seen this guy come from, torn ACLs and all type of things, and he just come back more explosive and still playing like, none of that ever happened. So no, I'm not surprised, and it's a good thing to see him playing good. I think sometimes we a little too hard on Russ.
Right. I feel you, bro. And
I agree
so,
there.
just really quickly, fellas, lastly, which one is a bigger story right now? The New York Knicks at 4-4 with supposedly this great roster that they have, or the Phoenix Suns fellas at 8-1? Which one right now is a bigger story for you guys, Jamar?
I would say the Phoenix Suns being 8-1.
I didn't see them being 8-1, bro. I did not see this.
No, not at all. It's like we know on paper they're talented, and but we definitely had issues about their depth, defense at times. Just is there enough of the basketball to go around type deal? But I mean, maybe the different voice with Budenholzer, maybe them just having time together to jail. I mean, it's still early in the season, but yeah, for them being 8-0 and I mean 8-1 and doing what they're doing, and they're beating some tough opponents along the way. I mean, it's definitely one of those things where like, are they like, can they really live up to the ceiling that we thought they could have when this moves were first made? So it's like it just makes you wonder, could they really be
Mhm.
that team?
Right. So, Wayne, really quickly, bro, which one is a bigger story for you right now? The Knicks at 4-4, or Phoenix Suns being at 8-1? When is the seventh straight?
Hmm. I would say the Suns. I would say the Suns. I wouldn't think they would have this record at this point, but I mean, they do have the talent, so it's kind of like not really surprised, but the way that they season, went last year. Um,
Right.
I guess that's why it gives you that feeling. But it's
Well,
like, I mean, they got Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and the great Kevin Durant. I mean, should we really be surprised? But it
it's a
didn't
good
really
point.
work out necessarily. I mean, it didn't really necessarily work out the way that we all thought it would last year.
Last year.
So yeah, so I that's why I kind of give you that feeling. But it's like,
Right.
I mean,
Mhm.
they got players, and so hmm.
Right. I feel you, bro. Yeah. And so quickly, fellas, we'll get into our notable college football games to watch this weekend. We have a variety of great games that'll happen this weekend. And so, just as an FYI, everyone, the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs, they're at the number 12 Ole Miss Rebels down in Oxford, Mississippi. So, get your popcorn ready for this one. There should be a lot of points scored. Um, Again, the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs at the 12 ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Additionally, we've been keeping this going lately. The unranked Michigan Wolverines at the number 10 Indiana Hoosiers. Just crazy to see Michigan unranked. Additionally, the Purdue Boilermakers are at Ohio State. And so, yes, Purdue is terrible this year and they suck. They are awful. But for some reason, as we know as sports fans, they always give Ohio State a run for their money. And so it will be very intriguing to see if something in the air is just out there, if Purdue, Jamar, give Ohio State a very serious run today, it'd just be crazy because Purdue sucks this year. They are awful. And Ohio State has national championship aspirations. So we'll see what happens with this game later this afternoon. The 24 Colorado Buffaloes. Yes, they're ranked now, everybody, at the Texas Tech Raiders. Texas Tech Red
Yep.
Raiders, excuse me. And so that'll be an intriguing game. Everybody gets up when they play Colorado, so I'm sure Texas Tech is going to be rowdy, ready to have that just show coming to their stadium in Lubbock, Texas. And lastly, the 11 Alabama Crimson Tide at the 13th ranked LSU Tigers. Big game for Alabama. If they lose this game, fellas, one of these teams going to be, if they lose this game, whoever loses is not going to the playoff. So this is a really big game for both of these teams. And so we'll see what happens with this. And so I would have talked about the NCAA football, college football rankings revealed. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that. You
Not
didn't?
yet.
Okay. And so I just want to pick a quick bone. They got BYU as getting the first round bye in the college football playoff right now. And I just have an issue with that, being that it's over the SEC teams. But it then makes me question, Ian and Jamar, am I going back to tradition? And the tradition is we always see teams, as example, Florida State, as example, last year. Like somebody always get hurt. But it seemed like with this new format, if you're showing a BYU love over a SEC team who tends to have some of the toughest schedules in the country, as we know, you see these teams literally don't get a bye, but BYU get a bye. I don't know, maybe if I'm falling into that same trap of tradition, which is SEC team, toughest conference in the country. Why is that fourth seed not an SEC team? And
Yeah.
so it's always interesting because we become so used to seeing SEC, Big Ten, Pac-10 stuff like this. But
I get it.
yeah. So we'll see what happens with these rankings. But right now, BYU is ranked number 4, and we'll see how these rankings continue to unveil themselves. Because every week when they come out, there'll be teams that'll be on the outside looking in. And so, fellas, let us progress though. We got NFL Week 10 picks. Got a lot of variety of games happening this weekend. And let's make our picks. And so we got the New York Giants, fellas, at the Carolina Panthers. And so, Jamar, we'll get your pick, and then from there, and we'll follow up with you, etc. For our viewers that's watching as well, give us your picks as well and rock with us. And so this game tomorrow, fellas, is looks like it's in Germany. And so, yeah, neutral field. Jamar, who you got for this one? Giants at Panthers.
Whew. Yeah, Germany game. Just so you all know, Giants are favored by 6 points. Over under is 40.5. And just what makes this fascinating here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that are 2-7, which is the worst record in football. So we're talking about teams preparing for the futures and quarterbacks and stuff. So, I mean, you're definitely jockeying for position for likes of Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders and Bowers and nature right here. So,
right.
All that being said, this is tough because it's ugly. Like, Ian, I'm sorry, your team had none of us thought your team was going to beat the Saints last week, and that was a little mind blowing. Even without Olave, even still, they should have. Anyway, Carolina can run the ball a little bit. And I think I'm pretty sure Jonathan Brooks gonna make his season debut. So I'm very curious on that one. Um, it's like Giants at times they look brilliant. At times when they get the ball to Malik Neighbors. Other than that, this is ugly. Yeah. So with situations like this, I usually take the team with the most playmakers. Uh, I'm gonna take the Giants as long as they get the ball to Malik Neighbors. I don't think
Who
anybody.
has the damn most playmakers between these
I,
teams?
I'm gonna say the
The
Giants
Giants. The Giants.
between Malik Neighbors and Brian Burns.
Playing his old team.
Yep. So yeah, give me the G man.
Yeah. Ian, who you got, bro?
Uh, this is a this is an ugly game. It got me yawning. Um, uh, I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
All right,
If all else
Panthers. Yes.
fails. Yeah.
For me, fellas, I mean, with the money that's given to Danny Crimes, they better win. I don't know who the hell gonna win this game, but uh, I'll go with the Giants. I think the Giants, they got a tougher identity, so I think they should out physical the Panthers. So I'm gonna go with the Giants. Um, Next, fellas, Patriots. They come to Chicago, and so we got the Patriots tomorrow. Who you guys got for this one, Jamar?
All right. So just so you know, Bears are favored by 6 points at home. That says a lot. 38 and a half over under. Look, of course, I'm gonna ride with the team that's sitting behind me on the wall here. But what I will say is, if they cannot stop the run, if they cannot stop the, the rookie quarterback in Drake May, is because he's been a spark plug for that team. That team is still trash. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
he's definitely been a bright spot. I didn't realize he had the wheels that he had. So that's definitely something you can't ignore. The Bears' run defense need to get it together because I'd be darned if I see Ramondre Stevenson go off for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Antonio Gibson just becomes the
Antonio
player.
Gibson, he was with the Commanders.
Yeah, comes out to be the player that he was back then, and I don't have time for it. I don't, man. So we better win this game. We have to win this game.
You gotta win this game. If you don't win this game, then I don't know what to say. Ian,
This is a tough one for me.
I'm sure it is.
Jamar, you got
But
the just in case, I don't know. I'm pretty sure at some point maybe, but you got
I'm
the
gonna go
audio
with
ready, right? You got that Cancun ready, right?
Oh yeah, we on deck.
All right, cool.
I'm going to go with DJ Moore and the Bears.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys. I'm gonna go with the Bears. The Bears have to win this game. Yeah, at home, you're going against the Patriots. Now, Drake May will be motivated, y'all. Keep in mind, he was drafted number 3 behind Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels. So, this is another big rookie quarterback battle here. It might not be as favorable as the matchup was against Jaden Daniels, but this kid was the number 3 pick. So he will be motivated to play against Caleb Williams tomorrow. But the Bears are at home. You have to win this game. So,
Indeed.
Jamar, I think in that case, we got a Cancun, bro. Voila. Yes. And so let us continue. The Bills, they are at the Colts. Right now, the Colts, I mean, we see what happened with their rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback. He's been tired and stuff lately. So he probably still catching his breath right now. But is he going to be on the field tomorrow, Jamar?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
It's Joe Flacco, and to my understanding, Joe Flacco
For the foreseeable future?
correct.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if this is a Cancun, but who you got, Jamar? Because I know I got the Bills.
Yeah, no, just for information purposes, Bills are -4 in a row. Over under is 46.5. Yeah, I got Bills Mafia.
Ian? Ian, can you hear us?
Oh, I forgot to turn my mic back on. I got bills on this one.
All right. So, all right. Broncos at the Chiefs. Broncos, I thought they were for real. They went into Baltimore last week and got thrashed. This was a good chance for them to let the world know who they was. Um, they got a tough game tomorrow. It's a division game though, so they at Arrowhead tomorrow. So I don't know if this is a Cancun. Do anybody got the Broncos? So Jamar, who you got?
No, I don't. But for information purposes, Chiefs are favored by 7.5. 41.5 is the over under. Yeah. I'm ready for Cancun if everybody else is.
Yep.
All right.
Voila. The Falcons at the Saints. So Jamar, you've been on this Falcons bandwagon, and I mean, you guys brought up an excellent point that they they have the Saints and the Panthers in their division. Voila. Who do they have tomorrow? The New Orleans Saints.
I guess there's gonna be another one. I figure we're gonna stay on three.
Cancun on 3. Just real quick. Falcons are favored 3.5 on the road, 46.5 over under. That's where we're at.
And so yeah, Jamar, bro, let's hit the button, man.
All right.
Voila. And so the 49ers at the Buccaneers. The 49ers get Christian McCaffrey back. Yeah, right now the Buccaneers, they are reeling. They are at home. But man, it'll be really, really nice to see Mike Evans back for that team. But he's not playing tomorrow, right?
Nope.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Probably next week.
This is easy for me then, because they're nothing without Mike Evans, in my opinion. The Bucks, they struggle without him. Who you got, Jamar?
Information purposes, 49ers are favored 6.5 on the road, 50.5 over under. So they think this is gonna be a high scoring affair. Yeah, no, I got the Niners. Christian McCaffrey being back was the real extra caveat on that one. So
for me too, yeah. So you got the Bucks at home, Ian, or
Nope. Niners. Bang bang Niner game.
yeah.
shout out to Jake on that one, but shout out to Tiana on this.
Wow. So the Steelers at the Commanders.
Whew.
This is a good game.
Whew.
So the Commanders. I stated next week. I was talking about the Eagles, but I forgot that they play the Steelers tomorrow. This could be a tough game for them. So they survived against us. By the way, they technically should be 6-3. Anywho, they're 7-2. Jamar, who you got for this one? Steelers at the Commanders.
All right, so Commanders are favored 2.5 at home, 44.5 over under. Now this is one of those, show me games, because the Steelers, since Russell Wilson has taken that team to a different,
their offense looks
level.
a lot better. They're not scoring just field goals; they're actually scoring some touchdowns.
Yeah, and you seeing like the Russell Wilson in the Seattle Seahawks uniform as opposed to the Denver Broncos one. The way the ball placement is, the way he's moving the chains here, it's rejuvenating. And that defense, I think that's the real thing. That defense.
Shout out to TJ. That's a grown man right there.
That is. So with all that being said, I am gonna take the Steelers here over the Commanders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Commanders in upset.
Okay. And for me, I'm gonna take the Commanders at home. Commanders been riding a huge wave. They've been at home a lot for their last few games, so they're gonna hit the road eventually. They got to.
Is that a night game? Or afternoon game?
Afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, it's early. Okay.
Yep. So Steelers at the Commanders. So Vikings, fellas, at the Jaguars. Another afternoon game. Vikings 6-2, not 6-3. Who you got for this one, Jamar?
Just so you know, Vikings are favored by 6.5 on the road, 43.5 over under, and there is speculation that Trevor Lawrence will not play tomorrow.
Right.
Um, so I'm thinking that Cancun is going to be upon us soon.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, Jamar, go ahead, bro.
Hmm.
Voila. And so let us continue with the Cancuns. So the Titans at the Chargers. I don't know, maybe a Cancun, but the Chargers are quietly 5-3. Okay, quiet, very quiet. They got the Titans. Titans surprised some folks and won. Was it last week or the other
Yep.
week? I was
They,
shocked.
they beat the Patriots last week in that
Right.
thriller
You're right.
game.
They beat the Patriots, right? And so it was good to see the Titans get a win. They at the Chargers. I don't know what it is about the Chargers. Maybe it's just that John Harbaugh. You know, they're different now. Like Jim Harbaugh, like they're like a tougher physical team. Like they're at home tomorrow versus the Titans. Who you got for this one, Jamar?
Just so you know, Chargers are favored by 7.5 at home, 38.5 over under. I believe Will Levis is starting at quarterback
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. And we know Will Levis is just like Anthony Richardson, as in he gives the
Anybody
ball
can get the
away.
ball, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. And ain't anything else I could should say with that Chargers.
Yeah, I got the Chargers. What about you, Ian?
Titans for the upset.
Ooh,
All right.
that
Hold
makes
that
sense.
Cancun
Team is
button.
blue.
Yes,
Them
hold
blue,
that Cancun
them,
button.
them blue colored teams. I tell you.
Ah.
Well, speaking of a blue collar team, I don't know. Maybe Ian pick a blue collar team here. Eagles at the Cowboys.
Oh
Eagles
no.
6-2 at the Cowboys. So I don't know if this is a Cancun because based off of what we've seen for the Cowboys lately, and
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, is he even playing tomorrow, Jamar?
No, and he's about to go on IR.
Right.
Uh,
So I don't know if we're
Cancun.
pulling out the Cancun or what, bro, but
I think it's coming. Just so you know, Eagles are
mhm,
favored by 7 on the road, 43.5 over under. Cooper Rush is the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons may play Sunday, but yeah, I got the Eagles.
right.
Fly Eagles fly.
Yep.
Whoop, here we go. We flying to Cancun.
Voila. Yes. And so yeah. The Jets at the Cardinals. Cardinals, I think they're a good football team and they're physical and James Conner, I like him. Uh Kyler Murray can make plays, grown man out there with Marvin Harrison Jr. Uh who you got for this one? The Jets are 3-6. Jonathan Abernathy stated that they would go 10-7. So where are you with this one, bro?
Yeah, this one's a little bit more interesting. Because that offense is actually starting to look a little bit better for the Jets here. But just so you know, Jets are favored on the road by 1.5 points, 46.5 over under. So this is a must-win game for the Jets. And if you're the Cardinals, who are leading the NFC West right now, these are the games you got to win if you're trying to be a real contender in that division. Um, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if the passing attack for the Cardinals can withstand the great defense, the great secondary of the Jets. But I do know the Jets' run defense is not great. So it's kind of mirroring our Bears' defense from last week. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the Jets' offense is definitely probably a little bit more polished than ours. So I'm gonna actually take the Jets in this one, but I'm gonna use my famous saying: I don't have the warm and fuzzies.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. And bro, where are you with this one?
Going with the Cards. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a big day.
Mm.
He better for my
Right.
3 fantasy teams. Shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, they ain't been giving my boy the ball. I don't know what Kylo just doing. Gotta get off the Call of Duty, bro.
Dude, for real.
Every time Kyler Murray's making that, it's Call of Duty.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness. So Ian, I'm with you, man. Y'all know I've been on this Cardinals bandwagon. I think they're a good football team. They play hard every week. The Jets, I don't know, man. It's a sad story, like Aaron Rodgers, injury last year, he come back this year. You got expectations. They got Aaron Rodgers. Then they go pick up Devontae Adams. He had a great game last week. He had a great game.
Yeah,
Um,
didn't Garrett Wilson score 2 touchdowns last week?
and Garrett
Or,
Wilson too.
or
Yes, that's the other one. And did y'all see those catches he made?
yeah, 2 one-hand touchdown catches. That was
Amazing.
last week, right?
That was last week, bro.
Yeah, it was last week. Okay.
That was last week, and they survived. They could have lost the game last week too, but they survived that one. So the Jets, Jonathan, if you're watching, this team you stated could get on their run. And so if they want to get on their run, they got to win tomorrow. But they in Arizona, and I think Arizona pulls this one out. It'll be a good game, though. I'm looking forward to that one. That's one I want to watch, fellas. Just because I'm very interested in what the Jets could be or what they should be. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinals at home. The Lions at the Texans. Um, the Texans
Ooh.
been banged up lately, fellas. Um, it would be disrespectful to do a Cancun on the Texans, right? I mean, but they playing the Lions. Sunday night football. Um, I don't know if it'd be disrespectful to do a Cancun on the Texans, but they
Oof.
don't look the same without their two receivers, fellas. They just
I
don't.
But
seen Nico Collins practicing the other day, but I don't think he's
yeah.
playing though, right?
So what I will say is he's been activated off of IR.
Mm,
Yeah,
So there is a chance he does play.
mm.
yeah.
So just throwing it out there because the Texans offense with Nico Collins is a completely different animal without him.
Mhm. Right.
Because that man was leading the league in receiving yards, head and shoulders before he got hurt. So,
Right. And it's
um,
lasted for about a week or two
Mhm.
after he got hurt.
yeah, which is insane. All right, just so y'all know, Lions are favorite 3.5 on the road, 48.5 over under. Um, I got the Lions with or without Nico. I got the Lions. I mean, like arguably the best team in football.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. With or without Nico. Him.
I know who he ain't got.
Right. Who we gotta
This is
ask.
a
And
this is a
so,
tough one.
What you mean
No,
it's a
no, no.
tough one?
This is a tough one because the Texans are one of my favorite teams. I'm gonna go Houston for the
yeah.
upset. Houston for the upset.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll hold back on the button.
Right. Yeah. Uh. All right. So, fellas, moving on to Dolphins. 2-6 at the Rams. 4-4.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
Um. Bad feel so bad for the Dolphins because they lost 2 games. They should 2 games they literally blew on the last drives. Um. Jamar, who you got for this one? Dolphins at Rams.
Oh, well, well, just so you know, Rams, they only got the Rams favored by 1 at home. 50.5 over under. Give me the Rams.
Okay. Yes, probably be a lot of points scored. Um,
I'm a
and
I'm gonna go with the Rams.
yeah,
Tyreek Hill he's killed me in fantasy this year, man.
yeah, he's been a disappointment this year, man. Um, maybe it's the injury though. For me, fellas, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I got them in an upset. I think, yeah, they need a win. They're prime for a win. I got the Dolphins.
All right.
Next, fellas. Well, actually, that's it. And so those are the games that we have.
I'll
But
let got the week
there's some
11.
other games too, right, Jamar, that we think we got to pick our next Thursday. Um, and next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, uh,
Ooh, that's a great one. That's a great one.
yeah, next Thursday is a very good game. Now, Jamar, since you go ahead, who's playing next Thursday?
We have the Commanders at the Eagles.
Exactly. So we were talking about the Commanders, Eagles, etc. So, who you got for this one, Jamar?
So as it presently stands, I will take the Eagles at home.
Okay. And what about yourself, Ian?
I think I'm gonna take the Eagles as well.
Okay. Yep. And for me, fellas, man, whew, this is one of those games where you got to see what the team does tomorrow, and then, um, I'm with you guys. I'm gonna go with the Eagles at home, just because they're at home, and the fact that the Commanders haven't looked the greatest. They've been surviving a lot of games lately. Um, so I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. And so voila. And so with that being said, and bro, if you know, but it's time for N's basement. So we made NFL picks. We talked about a lot. Curious to know, bro. You got anything for us this morning?
A couple things.
Yeah.
Shout out to Moria Park. They played today in the second round of state playoff. They played Metamora. It's like 2 hours away.
Hmm.
Did they play them at one? They didn't play them at two today, so they play at two. Hopefully they get the win.
They're going down
Um,
now.
yeah, they're going down there. Yeah,
Okay.
they went down last night. I seen
Okay.
uh
Okay. Cool. Cool.
play
Cool.
them today. Shout out to my godson. His football team, the Mid Crest Panthers. They playing a championship. They're playing Super Bowl tomorrow at
That's awesome.
two. Play at two undefeated. They play at two tomorrow. So shout out to
Is this
TJ and
is
those
this
guys.
Terrence's son?
Yeah, yep, yep.
That boy look like he got an NFL future.
Yeah, man.
That
TJ
boy
nice.
can
So
play.
yeah, shout out to the Mid Crest Panthers going to the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I do have a question. So it is basketball season. Um, can Ja Morant lead those Grizzlies back to the playoffs?
For me, it's an emphatic yes. He's on my fantasy team, and when he plays in FYI, he does wonders too.
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
he's solid all around. It's so crazy though to think, fellas, how one player can just change the whole. We realized how awful Memphis was last year without this man. They were awful, but now they come. He comes back and they're 6-4. They were losing when he wasn't playing earlier in the season. Now they've been on a win streak since he come back, just like the switch. So some players just got it like that. And so for me, I don't know about you, Jamar, but it's an emphatic yes because when he's on the court, they're an entirely different team.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with that. Um, it's definitely a breath of fresh air to see John Morant back on the court, and what he robbed us from with his dumb behavior and injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the crazy thing is they're only gonna get better because our boy, our little bright spot, Zach Edey, like he's only gonna get better, and if I'm not mistaken, he's like number one on the rookie of the year
Rookie.
ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it's only gonna get better and better. So yeah, that's definitely a team to look out for, and the
Mhm.
fact that they played the Lakers and that whole like back and forth with the like too small thing, and he just
Right, but no,
came
that's
out
because they dominated them. I watched the
last year.
game. Okay. I
It,
thought
it,
this
it
was this past week because without Anthony Davis, they
yeah,
dominated them down
they
low.
beat them, but it all stemmed from like last year and stuff. And then the year before when they got put out, he said that on the press conference, like I don't like them. They put us out, and then last year when we were playing that whole like scrummage and stuff, like so he he coming, he got receipts, and
Hmm.
so that little extra motivation right there. So yeah, oh yeah, Memphis. they gonna take somebody's spot in the playoffs. So look out.
Yeah. Yep. So, Ian, bro, we're gonna see how this continue to progress. You say you had a couple things. Is that it?
Yeah. That was it. That was it.
Gucci. All right. Cool. So, morning, Deshaun. Good morning, bro. Peace and blessings to you as well, my brother.
Morning, bro.
Yes. And so, we would like to ask, support this stream. You see the QR code. Support us on Venmo. We want to do some great things, but we need you guys' help. So if you see this on the screen, hit that QR code. Whatever you can give will be a blessing, because when you do that, you allow us to continue to talk great sports and make Saturday mornings just a blessing for the world. Yes. And so, as we always say on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, every time we begin, we always state at the very beginning, because we're prophesying that it's going to be great. We say that we are back like a shark attack, back like we left some, back like we ain't got no clothes on our back. And for the world is a better place when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. But in order for the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast to take place, we need you guys' help. And so we appreciate the love and support in advance from each of you wonderful people. And so with that being said, world, we will now get into our final thoughts and shout outs. And so, Ian and Jamar, fellas, as we head into the weekend, any final thoughts and shout outs? Jamar, any final thoughts and shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Man, it's wild because we getting, closer and closer to turkey time and
This is
Christmas
true.
And stuff. And
not exactly me, but I'll be dreaming about the turkey for sure.
I mean, it's cool. You can just go to the beach as soon as this podcast over. It's nothing to you.
Give them a pina colada,
I know, kick back on the lawn chair, the clear blue water and stuff. Like,
I'm gonna go today, my brothers. I'm gonna go with my daughters. We gonna get us some. We gonna get us some churros, y'all. Some churros, and you get it with the chocolate, and then after that you get like a snow cones. We call them snow cones. You know where we come from, snow cones with the ice.
Yeah,
we're gonna get us some snow cones. Just chill out, man. So
and meanwhile, we have on hoodies.
Hey, speaking of them early money sports hoodies, them boys off the chain.
They're coming soon.
No? Man, they coming soon, man. Off the chain, these hoodies. Fly. If you want to be on your fly boy swag, get an Early Morning Sports Talk podcast hoodie to fit right in with your swag. Absolutely. And we got colors too, right, Ann and Jamar? So if you got the red J's and you rocking red and blacks, we got a red and black Early Morning Sports Talk podcast hoodie. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's all on you. It's all on you. You can rock it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, man. And so, Jamar, bro. Yeah. Final thoughts and shout outs, bro. My bad for interrupting.
Oh no, you good. Look, just real quick, can we I know that we do, but just the public consumption is can we just consensus, can we just like stop looking at Doc Rivers as this great coach? Can we stop doing it? Can we please stop doing it?
Yeah.
It's not
How
bad.
does he keep getting passes, Jamar? I don't get it.
I don't either. Like, how do you get the head coaching job in the middle of last season and you sitting there on the sideline, just calling the game? Like, out of all people, they call you? Like, what have you done lately? You haven't done anything in 16 years?
Well, I mean, he got him a championship, but that's been 16 years. You're right.
He has.
He went to the finals, right? He took them to the conference finals and stuff like that.
But he has more blown 3-1 leads than anybody in the history of the sport.
He does. Right.
And then all of a sudden, like Adrian Griffin, who had them at a 30-13 record,
31-13.
Yes, canned, and then all of a sudden, like this team is nowhere to be found. They're 2-7 right now. This, like the Bulls have a better record. I'll leave it at that.
Man, that's just bananas. To think, and that you 31-13, and
we beat the Bucks this year.
Right, we beat them. Yeah, we beat them after Kobe White went off on them. Yeah, Kobe White went off on them. And Zach LaVine. And so, like, to think that they were 31-13, bro, and they were pissed off in the Bucks organization, like we're not going anywhere, and fired the man. And then now you see where they are now. It's crazy, bro. Like
Crazy work.
that is, and so unless it's a rejuvenation and a big turnaround in Milwaukee, not only could Doc be going, but some people think that Giannis could be going. Giannis could be going too. And if Giannis go, then Giannis is going with him. Thanasis is going with him. So they both
Oh
could be
yeah,
going.
for sure.
So yeah, bro. Any final thought I was saying? Any final thoughts or shout outs, bro, as we head into the weekend?
Nah, man, everybody just be safe. Enjoy some basketball, football. Baseball's over. Thank God for the Chicago teams.
But shout out to the Dodgers, man. Shout out to Travis, bro.
Yeah,
Former Morgan Park
yeah,
Mustang.
yeah, man.
Strength
Shout
and
out to them.
conditioning coach for the Dodgers. Two-time world
Yeah,
champion now.
yeah. Shout out to those Dodgers, man. They got it done.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Everybody just have a safe and blessed weekend, man.
Yeah. Yep. And for me, fellas, I just want to say, shout out to the Indiana Fever. We got to hit on our women's sports. They snagged Stephanie White in. She was a great coach for Connecticut, fellas. Had them as a championship contender.
Mm,
But Caitlin Clark right now has that fever. And so, she had a chance to connect with Caitlin Clark. They was a pretty good team in the second half, as we saw last year of the season after the All-Star break. And, you know, possibly this team now, they could be looking for championship aspirations now with Stephanie White as the head coach. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to our Chicago Sky. So Tyler Marsh comes from the Becky Hammond coaching tree, and it's going to be intriguing to watch what he does, guys, with Angel Reese. And I hope that he can really develop Camila Cardosa because she is the key. It's not just Angel, it's her. And so we'll see how that developed. It's not a big name. It's not a super sexy name, Tyler Marsh. Like nobody's like, oh man, it's Stephanie White. But the Sky, I guess they saw something in this. So it's going to be really, really interesting, fellas, to see what happens with this because a lot of people think that Teresa Weatherspoon did not deserve to get fired. So
mm,
we're going to see how this turns out, and we'll learn a lot about the Sky organization, Jamar, this season, because a lot of people again believe that Teresa Weatherspoon did not deserve to get fired. So we'll see what happens with this. And so, with that being said, fellas, that concludes our conversation this morning. And so, on behalf of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we would like to say thank you for tuning in with us this morning. Continue to chop it up with us and support our podcast on various platforms. And if you are and would love to talk sports with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, we are here and would love to do so with you. Your love and support is truly appreciated, and we hope you all have a blessed and safe weekend.